did not buy it based on the cover. That is what we have solved for you today. We have a website where you can compare them online and buy them, and it eliminates the need for you to go to a bookshop. Now I pitched you the same website. And if you were an investor early 2000s when this website really started, and I'm pretty sure you can guess which is the one that I'm referring to. Any ideas?
Flipkart.
Yeah. If you were the investor, which of the two pitches would you have invested in? The first one or the second one? How many of you say the first? Okay, only one. Yeah. Next pitch fest, go for the second one. Okay. Now I saw some great pitches at the pitch fest, and I think that's where I wanted to bring this angle in from. Now there's some very good work done by a guy called Simon Sinek, and some of you might have seen his TED talk on the power of why. There's also a book by the same name, and he talks about this. He says a lot of great organizations don't really focus on what the idea is. They don't focus on how they will use that idea to do something. They first focus on why is that idea good enough to change the world. So let's suppose an idea from the pitch fest that talked about busting queues. One way to put it is, we have a way that you don't have to stand in line anymore. We will give you an app that will simplify it for you, and you will like it because it saves time. Versus, have you ever been bothered standing in a queue and felt like your life is coming to an end? We have built an app that might solve that problem for you. You can download it. It's called QueueBuster, and by using it, you can do X, Y, Z. Sometimes, as a part of a startup, the message that you're bringing to the world is probably the most important. And that message is not enough when people start up only for the sake of it. So when I said at the starting of my talk that I'll talk to you about 3 things that a startup CEO should never do, the 3 things I was referring to are the following. The problem in my head is, a lot of times what people working for startup or people starting up don't get right is the congruence between the heart, the head and the hands. In simple terms, what they are passionate about is not aligned to the logical idea they have been able to come up with, and that's not aligned to the skill sets that they have which could actually execute the idea. How do you fix it? That is probably the biggest question that you want to be able to answer as somebody who works for a startup. And that's what I'm going to be talking about over the next few slides. Now the 3 things to keep in place, as I said, is the heart to start. What are you really passionate about? Let me tell you a quick story. So a guy walks up to Socrates. Everybody knows Socrates? Yeah? Philosopher, old Greek guy, looks smart, long hair, beard. Here's a clue. So a guy walks up to Socrates and says, "Will you be my teacher?" Socrates says, "Not really interested. I have enough students." Guy sits outside his door for like a day. And next morning when he goes for a walk, he says, "I've not gone home. I've been sitting here without food, without water. Will you please be my teacher?" Socrates says, "You know what, walk with him." Takes him to a lake, shoves him underwater, and holds him there for like 30 seconds. Guy's running out of breath, he's panting. And then Socrates lets him up and says, "So what do you really want?" He says, "I want to be your student," because smart guy, probably was from an NIT or something, figured out this is a test going on, knows what to say. So he says, "I want to be your student." Socrates goes again, pushes him underwater, keeps him there. And for a minute this time, guy comes up, says, "I want to be your student. I'm set." 2 minutes, third round. Comes up without breath and says, "I want to breathe." Answers change. And then Socrates says, "The day you want to be my student as badly you wanted to breathe, come to me, I'll teach you." To me, that's precisely the first thing you need to figure out if you have or not, if you're considering joining a startup or starting up yourself. Do you want to do that as badly as you want to breathe? If not, find something that you want to do as badly, start with that. It's not that complicated. Second thing is the head. Let me tell you another story. guy, construction worker, his name is Pedro. So Pedro comes back after a round of beers with his friends and everything, and comes home to his top floor house, and his old landlady lives in the first floor. He comes home wearing his construction boots, throws them, makes a loud noise. It's late at night. So the landlady comes up afterwards and says, "This is irritating. I mean, every night you come home and you make this noise, and I wake up. I'm an old woman. I can't live like this. You need to move out." Pedro says, "Madam, I understand. I'm really sorry. I didn't think of it this way. I'll fix the problem. Don't worry." So next day, old habits die hard. He comes back after a round of beers with his friend, drops the shoe, and realizes that he's not supposed to do that. Keeps the other shoe silently and goes to sleep. 4 hours later, 6 in the morning, the old lady is knocking the door. The guy goes, "Madam, I'm really sorry. I realized that I dropped the shoe, which is why I kept the other one, and I remembered." So the old lady goes, "Yes, I've been waiting for the second shoe to drop for the last 4 hours." So now the second point really is logic. You may have a great idea, but are you willing to let go of it to really test how great it is? The second challenge that I, at least in my experience, have seen with startups or founders or people new to startups is they have an idea, they're in love with that idea, and come what may, they're not willing to budge on it. It's good to be passionate, but it's even better to be passionate and logical. Test out different things. You may have a great idea, testing it out will only make it better, it will not kill it. For me, that's the second thing that startup CEOs get wrong, which is they're not willing to budge from their original template, and sometimes that's the template that kills them. It's okay to change. And probably a third and a very important thing, which a lot of people have issues about, which is I don't have the skill set. I mean, I'm not a tech guy. How can I do a tech startup? And tech startups are the only ones that get funding, so how do we live? Now, there's another story of a company that was trying to build a bullet train. That's kind of going to happen in India soon, I hear. But that's not where my story comes from, I promise. So they contacted an airline and said, "You guys have a technology for windscreens that are strong enough to withstand issues aerially. We think that will work for our bullet trains. So could you give us that technology?" The airline said, "Yeah, no problem. This is the process for it. Do the testing like this. These are the 3 vendors you can use. Blah blah blah." Okay. So the bullet train company got the right vendors, got the right samples, commenced the testing and selection process, and the results shocked both the bullet train guys and the airline guys, because the same vendors that passed for the planes failed for all the bullet trains. So they put a committee around it. That's the first thing we do, put a committee around it. They said, "What's going on?" And after 10 days of rigorous finding, they finally figured out what was going on, and the airline guy who was appointed to lead the committee sent a one-liner email. That one-liner email was, "Please defrost the chicken." Let me tell you why. The windshields were supposed to be tested by throwing a chicken at the windscreen through a cannon. Yeah? But a normal chicken. The bullet train company didn't know that, so they threw chickens, but they were frozen chickens, hard as rock. And they broke all the windscreens. Now that's where skill sets really come to play. You might not have the skill set, and that's okay. Make a serious effort to find somebody who does, and you'll find someone. There are enough options in the market. But probably what's most important is for you to acknowledge that you don't have that skill set. Then either choose to learn it or earn it. Either way. But do you acknowledge it? Now, I can talk about a lot of things, but I think an example that tells you why this model works and why heart is more important sometimes than head and hands is an example that a lot of you may have seen before. I've taken this from funders and founders. This is the story of Instagram. 3 very simple observations is all I'd like to leave you with in this conversation today. Observation number 1, 3 guys start a company and make 51 games. What are the strong acts?
Coding.
Is it the head, the heart, or the hands? Hands. Very good. They know how to build games. They build games. Everything worked. Phenomenal. Go for it. They went almost broke. So obviously something was going on. The head wasn't quite working. But finally, they got back into the game, had a huge dip, sketched 10 ideas a day and did not give up to sketch that little bird on the corner one day. So sorry, Instagram was misplaced. This is the story of the company that built Angry Birds. Sometimes perseverance tops it. And with these thoughts in mind, if you want to just quickly take a minute and do this with me. I want all of you to close your eyes. Close your eyes. I won't put cold water on you. Close your eyes. You have a startup idea in your head. Think about it in the next 5 seconds. Whether you want to join it or work for it or start it, up to you, no problem. Now, raise your hand if you do not have a visualization of a startup yet. If nothing came to you yet, raise your hand. It's okay for those people raising their hand right now, open your eyes and sit and chill. For the rest of you, ask yourself this. Do you want it more badly than anything else in your life? If your answer is no, raise your hand. Be honest to yourself, you don't have to raise your hand if you don't want to, but if your answer is no, raise your hand. Okay. For people raising their hands, open your eyes and sit and chill. For the rest of the people whose eyes are still closed, if there are any, I want you to answer this. Do you believe that the plan you have in your head is scalable enough to make your career, your individual career, a great success? If the answer is no, raise your hand, or don't raise your hand but open your eyes. And lastly, do you know what the hell you're talking about? Which is, do you have the skill for it? Now, how many people still have their eyes closed? Please stand up. And I want all of you to look around. That's exactly what a startup CEO shouldn't do. Thank you.